Why you should take this class. Normally, when I talk about why you should take classes from me, I talk about all the money you can make learning this material. I even go as far as to show you my profit and loss statement out of QuickBooks as proof. But we're not going to do that today. Frankly, I think things like you can make a lot of money and work from home when you work in the IT career field should be fairly apparent to most people by now. So instead, I'm going to talk about how this class will make you more competitive in the job market, because you can't make all that money unless you land a job. Why are you going to take a class on relational database technology that isn't even in the cloud? Relax. We're going to get to the high-speed stuff with all the buzzwords that you're used to hearing surrounding the data career field. This course is the first course in a series of courses. The first 3, which will be released this year, will make you fully qualified to work on data warehouses. By the time you get done with the full sequence of 8 classes, which I can't reveal yet, you will be able to solve any data challenge you run into. But before we teach you how to build real-time predictive IoT systems, we have to cover the basics first. I'm going to teach you to dribble before I teach you to dunk. Let me address some common objections to courses of this nature. Can't I learn all this stuff for free online? First of all, no. I work my tail off to make sure I don't create generic content you can find just anywhere. What would even be the point of that? I mean, yeah, technically, you could learn this stuff for free online, but only because I put it there. Case in point, if you can't scrape together the money to take this class, I got your back, yo. I'm not just going to leave you hanging. I built 2 code tutorials, one on T-SQL and one on Python, also not cheeseball generic content. A lot of the material in this class are topics covered in the tutorials. The difference is, in the class, we're going to explore these topics at a much deeper level. And, just because I'm a capitalist pig, I'm going to be teaching paying students all the super cool G.I. Joe Kung Fu Grip Secret Squirrel stuff I intentionally left out of the tutorials. Huh. Okay, so that was really the only common objection I hear. All right, let's move on. I think the best way to illustrate why you should take this class is to tell you a horror story. Sit back and relax while I tell you about the time I worked for an organization that was so bad at delivering business analytics solutions, I just up and quit, rather than deal with it. Trust me, when I'm done, this will all make sense. One of the things I'm going to teach you is how to use the Mass Street Analytics Data Warehouse ETL framework, or the framework for short. Don't worry about what that is for now. Just understand that I built the framework because I know what it looks like to not have a standardized methodology for delivering analytics to the enterprise. This organization I used to work for hired someone that didn't know how to load data warehouses to build their data warehouse load. He built the load using SSIS. Yuck. He created the entire thing as a monolithic process instead of independent processes working together. Yikes. His process was brittle and constantly broke. Are you kidding me? Getting the warehouse load back on track often took hours, resulting in executives not getting the information they needed to do their jobs for several hours. How did this guy have a job? We spent more time fixing broken things than we did creating new cool stuff. Boring. Even when we tried to create new things, it was nearly impossible to get them into prod quickly because, due to the lack of an ETL framework, the organization had this convoluted way of pushing code to prod that was a nightmare. All right, I'm gonna head out. I'm going to teach you how to not be that guy. Learning how to properly load a data warehouse is an incredibly valuable skill. Not many people really know how to do it. They may think they do, but they don't. Building data pipelines is an engineering process that requires no small amount of intellectual horsepower. There is a lot to think about. A lot to take into account. That's why I get paid the big bucks. This course will teach you how to do something very few people know how to do. If you have looked at the framework, I know it may sound a bit intimidating now, maybe a little abstract because you don't really understand what you're looking at. Trust me, the information in that document is worth millions in efficiencies created and cost reduced. And I'm going to teach you how to use it. Guys, don't sleep on this. I'm out here making 6 figures doing simple things. The difference is, I'm doing it cleaner and better than everybody else. And I'm going to teach you exactly what I do. I'm going to teach you how you can be directly responsible for increasing a company's profit margins through drastically reduced IT spend. If bragging that you have the ability in a job interview sounds like fun, then plop down your cash and let's get this party started. Oh yeah! The other major objection. Why should you spend time learning about an on-prem relational database? That's not even big data. That's that old and busted. Where is the new hotness? Let me break it down Barney style. 1. The grand majority of companies out there don't have big data. There are a lot of reasons for that. I've been in huge organizations that barely had 15 gig in historical data. Learning medium data use cases before you move on to big data problems will make you more employable than just focusing on filling your resume with buzzwords. 2. It's 2021, and the cloud is still a big, scary, expensive place. It requires expertise to manage, and many companies don't have that expertise. On-prem is still safer for them. Again, here is another argument that focusing on the actual reality of the current state of data rather than just the hype will help you land a job faster. 3. NoSQL databases are not the new hotness you think they are. Technology has increased to the point where we can get the performance we need from a NoSQL database out of a relational database. Everybody and their mom knows SQL, so companies were quite happy to circle back towards the tried and true. Again, more job opportunities. 4. SQL Server is a great mid-market database. Its versatility, features, ease of use, and price point make it a very attractive solution for organizations of all sizes. Unlike Postgres, which is mostly found in smaller organizations, or Oracle, which is so expensive it's mostly a solution for megacorps, SQL Server is very affordable and flexible enough that it can be found across the full spectrum of company historical data sizes, company headcounts, and revenues. Additionally, even in 2021, many CIOs still have a heavy Microsoft bias, so you're probably going to get stuck with SQL Server whether you like it or not. Are you catching the theme here? This last objection, I don't even pay much attention to anymore because I don't buy it. However, someone on Reddit had to try me, so I better address it now. When it comes to loading a data warehouse, point-and-click ETL tools are not your friend. When I teach you how to use the ETL framework to load the data warehouse, I'm going to have a lot to say on this point. For now, let me explain it like this. I've worked for some very large clients. It's not a joke. Check out my LinkedIn. You would be shocked at how big a company can get before someone says, "Hey, I think we need a data warehouse." Then I get tapped for the job and I roll in hot thinking it's some startup. Turns out it's this massive company with an international presence and a couple of decades of historical data. No data warehouse. That is crazy, and that is the rated G version of what usually comes out of my mouth in this scenario. What I normally say usually includes the word bat. Most organizations that are standing up for their analytic efforts have no appetite to spend literally $1 million on a point-and-click ETL tool. That's not an exaggeration. The licensing fees on some of the high-end tools like Informatica, and even a smallish organization, can run to 6 or 7 figures. Even in companies running hundreds of millions of revs. Don't want to write that check. So, what are you going to do? I don't care if the database in question is SQL Server. SQL Server comes with its own ETL tool called SSIS, but SSIS is not the answer. Point-and-click is not the answer. Code is the answer for a whole mess of reasons that, for the low price of $39.99 today, I'll be happy to share with you. But wait! There's more! In a thread where I had placed a link to the ETL framework documentation, this individual decided to make their presence known, and I had to come out the booth. ETL, TEL, ELT sophistry. This is business analytics, not Scrabble. I'm not here for it. I build data pipe, not make triple word scores. Whatever you want to call it, the job is, data is over there, it needs to be over here. It's that bloody simple. Point-and-click, no-code, and low-code tools are obstacles to good data ops. A few years ago, no-code was going to be our savior. But just like many tech fads that I've seen in my career, no and low-code tools overpromised and underdelivered. Having been burnt by failed no-code projects that couldn't execute data pipe robustly, corporations are turning back to the tried and true: code. 20 years, a lot of fads come and go. Code has always been a constant. What does that mean for you? If you decided to master a point-and-click tool, you will experience the human version of what is called vendor lock-in, or as I like to call it, you get typecast. The reason I am an SSIS expert? Because I got an SSIS job early in my career and suddenly I got typecast as an SSIS guy. If an organization was using a different ETL tool, I couldn't land the work. To put this in perspective, it's not like hiring a carpenter because he uses Craftsman hammers and the company only uses Stanley hammers. A hammer is a bloody hammer, but hiring managers don't care. Learning to code frees you of this particular career stumbling block. Yes, there will still be issues of companies using one language or another. However, the use cases for programming languages are quite broad compared to ETL tools that are used to do one specific thing against one particular database. Additionally, Python has become quite ubiquitous when it comes to building data pipe. You have higher odds of walking into a company that uses Python than you would that uses some specific ETL tool. There are a lot of ETL tools on the market, which means that the probability of any one company using a particular tool is even smaller. But everybody and their mom uses Python and SQL. And at the end of the day, I'm not suggesting you use C++ to build pipe. Python and SQL are some of the easiest programming languages on planet Earth. You kids today will never know the struggle of having to write code for manual garbage collection. Bottom line, the skills I teach in this class are relevant, have high market value, and are in demand. The need for these skills are totally unrelated to where an organization is at in their analytics journey. Just starting or fully mature, there will be job opportunities to code for that organization. And despite what the marketing departments of many low and no-code tools say, it's going to remain that way for a very long time. I've managed my career by prognosticating trends and staying ahead of them. That's a fancy way of saying follow the money, or rather, stay ahead of the money, I guess. I do things based on what is going on to give me the highest, best chance of landing work. So if you ask me why you should take this course, my answer is highest, best chance of landing work. Hang on. What? Hang on. What? Oh, Nate, my attorney, says highest, best chance of landing work should be in no way, shape, or form construed as a promise or guarantee of future employment. Other people have guardian angels. I have lawyers. Let's talk about how to get the course material.